The one I hear all the time is I wanna learn how to model, like modeling skills. Do you even know what that is? Do you know what that is? Basically, what do you want to learn? That's a very important thing. Like, what do you want to learn? We kind of just go, am I gonna go into consulting or I'm gonna go into banking? It's like, why? Hey guys, welcome to the Power Closet. I know it's been like a long time since I filmed a like sit down chatty chat kind of video. I think it's almost been a year, but a lot has happened. Clearly my channel has evolved, my Instagram has evolved, and before I go into the purpose of this video, I'm going to explain my thought process and what I intend to do going forward. So when I started the Power Closet, it was very much focused on fashion, which is pretty much evident in the kind of content that I made. And then the last video that I made that was probably very personal was the one about when you hit your job with your life and soul. But yeah, which was my experience, and I feel like that was actually the purpose. That was what drove me to even start this channel in the very first place. I felt like people didn't really have an outlet or didn't have anyone to talk to about stuff like this. So when I started TPC, my vision kind of came to birth with clothes. And then I'm a Christian, and God was the person that poured all of this stuff in my heart about how to flesh out this kind of platform. And it started with clothes, but then it was very evident and apparent that it wasn't just about clothes. So I took a step back, also just due to work and all sorts of personal things that have been happening in between. I took a step back and I was like, okay, I really need to think about how I'm going to do this. But the truth is that through Power Closet, I actually have to give like a shout out to every single content creator out there, because it is so difficult to make a vision or idea become a reality. It is just not the easiest thing. So you have all these ideas in my mind, and I'm really thinking, how the heck do I birth this out to my followers in like a concise and helpful manner? So here's what we're gonna do. There will be fashion content as and when I feel necessary, but I can't promise that there will be like crazy hauls 24/7. But the main thing that I want to be pushing out is conversations, having the difficult conversations about things that really matter. So when I put up the video about when you hit your job with your life and soul, I was so happy that someone off the back of that reached out to me. We ended up actually having a full-blown conversation on Zoom, and we talked through about her pivoting, etc, etc. Now those are the kind of things that I feel really give me fulfillment and really make me like have joy. Clearly you can tell that I am, so it's almost I don't know if you heard that. That is basically my outlook. My laptop for work is right beside me. But anyway, so I just wanted to have like a platform where we could be honest and we could kind of just share perspectives, not for me to be your God or give you advice on all things, but it's really about a space to share perspectives and be honest about things that we may all be struggling with. But without further ado, today's video is something super interesting, which is what I wish I knew before I chose my career or job. I feel like I should have probably started with this one because it's such a like hot topic that people don't really think about. There are options. I think that is the first thing. You have options. I feel like we're really in a generation where people, they are kind of coming into this fact that like, I don't have to work for a corporation full-time. Our parents' generation didn't really feel like, again, in my opinion, didn't really feel like they had options. Whereas us, we feel like there are a myriad of options, or at least I now believe that there are a myriad of options. And you don't just have to go into the traditional careers. Okay, so when I say options, ooh, I was moving, little scooty. Okay, so when I say options, I think with them, it was like, okay, I'm gonna become a doctor, an engineer, a dentist, a pharmacist, all the swanky careers, right? Whereas with us, man, I can't even list. Like, you can be working as a full-time investment banker, part-time YouTuber, you can be a full-time TikToker, you can like say you make your money off tweeting and you have like a full-blown business, you could say you make podcasts, like they're okay. So I'm making all of these things that are skewed towards technology, and I guess this is very limited in a sense, but you get the point or the gist that I'm trying to say. It's that there are options. When I started, I went to so I did boarding school in England, and then I did uni in England, and there's this thing called Freshers Fair, and you see, okay, so it's not Freshers Fair, there's like a careers week, and you have like these huge corporations and conglomerates that come to like pitch and basically steal fresh talent straight from the source. And I think these things are so beautiful. However, I genuinely believe that these sort of events kind of pigeonhole you into a path without you actually thinking about what you like. The second thing is, do not allow them to package your destiny. That's so harsh. And they basically pitch to you why their business is like some very like swanky line is, you know, you get to work on the best deals, you get to work with the smartest people in the world, you get to like work on all these companies, you speak to CEOs, yada yada yada. And whilst that is fair, first of all, most of the time you're probably not the one speaking to the CEO. It's probably like VP and up. You're the one taking the notes in front of the CEO if you're even invited to the meeting, which most times you aren't. But my point is, like, they sell you a lot of dreams, and they're not just, I don't want to say they're pipe dreams, but some of them are actually pipe dreams, just putting it quite frankly. But the traditional the traditional corporations rather you would see in these fairs, you would see like consulting houses, and you would see banks, and particularly in England, there's this like crazy obsession, like I'm convinced it's an obsession with going into finance or going into consulting. And I'm so confused by it. Like, I don't understand why when you're like at uni, you do like your 4 years, your 3 years or whatever, and the next thing is like, yeah, I'm trying to get a job in finance, yeah, I'm trying to get a job in like a consulting house. And like when I say finance, you're thinking your Goldman, your MSs, you're thinking the Americans, like, and a few Europeans, but more so the Americans, right? The American bulge brackets. And when you're thinking consulting, like most people want to aim for the top tier ones. No offense to anyone. Most people want to aim for like the, you know, the Bains, the McKinseys, the Bostons. Those are the kind of companies that people want to work for. And don't get me wrong, those companies are amazing. Like, I've interacted with a myriad of people across all of those firms, but it's just so interesting to see that we kind of just go, am I gonna go into consulting or I'm gonna go into banking? It's like, why? Like, do you like it? Do you even know what it entails? I guess what I'm trying to send across in this message is there is life beyond consulting and finance. And I guess you're gonna be like, okay, to me, since you're so knowledgeable on what exists outside of finance and investment banking, then give us some options. I'll give you some examples of a couple of things a friend of mine, like me and my friends were like talking about. Someone now works at like Walt Disney. They work for Disney Plus. They're trying to do all sorts of partnerships, or I think it's like social media partnerships with them. Someone could work for a construction firm. Someone could work for an oil and gas firm. Someone could work for, I don't know, like a Procter & Gamble doing their marketing. Someone could do, like, there's so many options. Someone could go into a digital health startup. Someone could go work for their friend's startup. Like, there are options. You don't just have to go, the first thing I want to do is I want to go work in finance, and out the back of finance I want to pivot into private equity, and then I'll make a lot of money and die. It's like, come on, there's more to life than just doing in that track. Or I want to go work for like a top consulting firm, and thereafter I go get my MBA, and after the MBA I pivot into a strategy that, like, don't get me wrong, you know why I'm making those voices? I'm not making jest of you, just of the Nigerian thing. It's because these were my freaking plans. Like, these were my plans, and to an extent I'm like still trying to like run from those plans, because I'm like, those are not me. Those are literally things that I took from society and thought that I had to do because there were no options. But now I'm like, girl, you have options and you're gonna exercise them. So please don't let them package your destiny. That's what I'm gonna say. The third thing I would say is that pay is not everything. Let me explain what I mean very, very carefully. I genuinely believe that pay is so important. Like, at the end of the day, you want to pay your bills. But I also have to say that with picking your job, if the only thing you can identify is pay, honestly, honey, you need to like check again. Like, there's more to life than that. And I'll explain why. So recently, I was speaking to a friend of mine who got compensated so well from a firm that she's working for. So she works in financial services. She works for an investment bank, to be more specific. And she got as in, you know, the kind of money that when you are rolling. She got compensated very well. Went shopping, all of that. And then when we were having like a conversation, she was like, after about 1 week, she was like, I'm right back where I was. Like, yes, I got compensated. Yes, I'm grateful to God. But guess what? I still want to leave this book. Like, I hate this place. Which was like, so the money served as a short-term high. It was like a shot of heroin. It was like, boom, I got this money. I feel so like gingered and empowered. Like, okay, all my sweat and my blood was worth it. And she settled down after the high and she realized that, oh crap, the money isn't still making me super happy. So she had two options, right? She can either work super hard so that next year when she's comped again, she would feel that high, which is what a lot of people do without actually realizing it. Or she actually settles down to think, crap, I actually need to find something that can generate the money to live the lifestyle that I want, but also I can be fulfilled and actually happy in what I do. And so we were like having a conversation. I was like, yeah, it actually really sucks when you realize that the money is not enough. As in, I need to be feeling good about what I do. And you know what? If you're super like, if money means everything to you, I want you to own it. Like, own it. There's no shame in it. It's powerful. If that's what you care about, then own it. So like picking a job and being like, oh, I just want it to be 6 figures, etc., then that's fine. But I would kind of push you a little bit to be like, do you mind thinking about a couple more things that actually stimulate you beyond the profitable aspect, or like the monetary aspect rather? Because in the lows, you wanna find a reason to keep going. That's why I said that money sometimes may not be enough, but it definitely plays a factor in what it is that you choose. Okay, so the fourth thing is probably one of the most important things. I wish I had done enough due diligence into the role. Do you actually know what they do? Like, and I don't mean, do you understand the purpose of it? I mean, when you go into the office from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, do you know what those people are doing? And I don't mean what your MD is telling you that he does, or what your VP is telling you that she does, or what your director is saying like, it doesn't matter. I mean, do you know what you will be doing if you were to join that actual firm, to join that industry, to join that business, to join that sector? Like, do you know what you will be doing? And I think it's very important, because there are a lot of roles that glamorize a lot of things, but when you really deep it, you might be rolling in like PowerPoint and Excel, and those skills are valuable. Like, being able to put out a deck that is concise and is being sent to C-suite, elaborating your thoughts on a particular topic, is a very powerful skill. But how do you feel about being sat at a desk all day, all night, churning out books from morning till night? That's something that you should really, like, when you join, you'd be like, yeah, I really love it. But will you love it when you're doing it at 2 o'clock in the morning? Will you love it when you have to check a model and you have to check that model like 959 times, like, because you want the thing to be to 0 point whatever percent? So it's about like, will you love it when you're doing the grunt work? Because there's a lot of glamorizing like the outside, but people don't talk enough about the nitty-gritties and the not so pleasant things that go on in a lot of jobs. Do your due diligence on what the person actually does. Okay, and now number 5 is, what can I do if I choose to go this path? Hey God. So I don't really put so much emphasis on the first 2 to 3 years. However, you see, we also live in a world where human beings, should you want to pivot, they look at your track record and see, what have you done in the past and how can you help me in the next phase? But what I'm trying to communicate is, in going into these roles, or before you take up the career or job or what it is that you're trying to do, have you thought about what you're going to do with it? People just kind of fall into things and exist, which is not bad. Like, it's not a bad strategy. Pays the bills, gets things done, it keeps your brain busy, hopefully, and that's cool. But have you ever thought about, what do I actually want to do long term? What makes me fulfilled? What do I actually see myself doing? Bear in mind that these are questions that I'm asking myself that I still don't have answers to. But the first like correct step is being aware that you're looking for like a long-term plan. think about the skills you want to learn and the skills you currently have. So what are you good at now, or what skills you think you have, like naturally God-given talents or skills you may have acquired at uni, at like part-time jobs in your current job, etc., etc. What skills you think you have now, and what skills do you want to learn? Again, that will probably be applicable to where you're trying to go. So my last point was, you know, where are you trying to go off the back of where you're trying to enter, right? The one I hear all the time is I wanna learn how to model, like modeling skills. Do you even know what that is? Do you know what that is? Basically, what do you want to learn? That's a very important thing. Like, what do you want to learn? The last thing that I wanted to communicate is it's okay if you don't have a plan. And you know what? You can have a plan, and guess what? It just like turns to dust very quickly, as mine has. But it's okay. I think just getting started, and once you start the role, like say you start a role and you find out that you actually hate it, that's completely fine. I'd say stick it out a little bit longer to know that it's actually something that you don't want to do. But it's okay to not have a plan. The world, because we're so like picture heavy, we're capturing perfection at every single moment, that it can feel as though you are the person that is lacking, as in you don't have a plan. I get that, but it's not the reality. It's okay to not have a plan. Just start, and once you start thinking about every single thing that I have spoken about earlier on in the video. So that is it for today. 6 things that are just like food for thought. I think you should think about those, or I think you should. I hate those kind of commentary. That I think will be very interesting for a person to consider before they jump head into a career. But let me know what you think in the description box below. Don't be shy. Please do follow me on Instagram at @thepowercloset_. Send me an email, and I'm always here for a chat should you want one. Bye guys.